Welcome to another episode of Test Chamber. This is Javy Gwaltney here. I'm here with Suriel Vazquez.
Hi.
We are checking out an entire level from the single-player campaign of Titanfall 2. This level doesn't have that many spoilers in it. We just wanted to show you a level that has basically most of what the game's offering. So you'll see some Titan combat, you'll see some pilot combat, you'll see some of the back and forth between the main character, Jack Cooper, and his Titan BT. So, you know, it's just a pretty good look at what is the core of this single-player campaign.
All right. What is the core of the single-player campaign?
It's about buds.
It's about buds?
Murder and buds.
Oh.
It's about
small sprouting flowers? Is that what you mean?
No, buddies.
Oh, buddies. Short for buds is short for buddies.
Yeah.
Is buddy short for anything?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But anyway, obviously we're in the Titan right now. We are inside BT, and when you're in BT, you can get out at any time, just like you can in the multiplayer. You go fast, and if you get out, he'll follow you, and he'll provide fire support, and he can always like pick you up. He is your best robo friend.
Okay, cool.
He is a good boy.
It's nice to know.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that he is a good boy, because sometimes I wonder, who is a good boy?
Yeah,
and
it is a hard question in this day and age. All right, so we're going to start off with some Titan combat. These are typically the Titans you'll fight. You can see their health bars. They're pretty weak in comparison to you. They don't really have shields. Only boss Titans have shields most of the time.
So that's one of the things that I heard about this game, is that they sort of changed up the way the health works in general.
Yeah. The health, you have batteries now. So, and this applies to multiplayer too. Whenever your health goes down, which is the bars that you see up there, during a match or during single player, you can find batteries, which you can take off the corpses of other Titans, or just find like littered around, like that's a battery, and it will restore one of those bars. Like a single battery equals one of those bars.
Oh, okay.
And in multiplayer, this gets interesting because what happens is when you grapple a Titan as a pilot and you're riding them and rodeoing them, you steal their battery instead of like throwing a grenade down the hatch like you do in the original Titanfall. You steal their battery, so you can steal their battery, which takes away one of their health bars, and then you take it to a friendly Titan or your Titan, and you can give them a health bar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really cool how they've played with those systems.
So is the gameplay basically identical from single player to
multiplayer?
They don't make any special accommodations for like, well, in the single player you have a weapon you can't use in multiplayer or something, like, because I remember them. This was made by Respawn, who's previously, a big part of Infinity Ward, and they would give you a lot of like very highly custom weapons and things like that. So is there any of that in this?
Not really. Pretty much at some point or another, you get to use pretty much everything that's in multiplayer.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's neat. Obviously, hold on. Let's take care of this guy. Okay. And there are different Titan classes too now. So right now we're playing Expedition. That's the one that you have initially. Then there's there are just a bunch of them, and it's not letting me select to show you like what the breakdowns are. You have to actually pick up gears, and we'll pick up one as we go along in a minute.
Can you swap them out at any time?
Yep, you can swap them out at any time. You can't do that in multiplayer. Really, you have to wait between rounds, but in single player it's on the fly, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool,
because it gives you a chance to practice. Before you go diving into single player. Although the enemy Titans in single player are pretty easy to get rid of, except for the boss Titans. They're the only real ones that act sort of like players will. Most of these guys have routines that they stick to, attack patterns.
Is there how much do they balance sort of like in Titan combat versus on the ground stuff?
It's about, I'd say, a 60-40 split. Most of the time you are on the ground as Cooper, which is exciting. Just as exciting, honestly, I'd say, as being in the Titan.
Right.
And we'll get to that in a second. But here's another loadout. This one's
a little more
really aggressive. Cool. Yeah, this one's a little more tactical.
Oh, okay. So do they do anything to your mobility? Is there any changes in that, or is it all sort of weaponry in terms of like...
Oh, you mean guns for the Titan between classes?
Yeah.
There might be like minor adjustments, like Ronin, which is the Titan with the sword that's really cool, is probably a little bit faster, but also a little more undefended.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't really have like a badass shield.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess the big change I mean, from 1 to 2 is that this game has a single player because, I mean, Titanfall had a single player, but it really
in
didn't.
quotes.
Yeah.
It was story that was delivered during the background of matches, and it wasn't great.
So, I mean, you gave this a 9.5.
Yes.
You really liked it.
Oh, I love it. It's my favorite campaign since Wolfenstein: The New Order, and I think it rivals Wolfenstein: The New Order.
That's pretty big words coming from JV.
Yeah. People who know me know how much I adore that game, and I think I will come to adore this one just as much because I've already played it 3 times to completion.
Okay. So, I mean, does it give you the feel of a Call of Duty campaign? Like, how much were you thinking of, some of the earlier Modern Warfares when you were playing this?
It reminds me a lot of the original Modern Warfare, and I've also been playing Modern Warfare Remastered at the same time I'm playing this, and there are some explicit call-outs to Modern Warfare, like straight-up scene duplications that feel like a wink at the audience in a way.
That's
like
pretty cool.
Like anyone who knows the history of, the bad blood that led to Respawn being born when key talent left Infinity Ward will pick up on that, I think.
Okay. Is there any like other knowing references like, oh, there's a Lieutenant Money instead of someone else?
No, just like straight up scene duplications. Okay. But there's a lot of actual options when you're when you're playing as Cooper. Like I could have just entirely run past all those enemies by going up here and stealthing.
Stealthing, you say?
Yeah.
You can turn invisible? Okay, you can cloak.
Yeah, it's a brief power up, but you can also wall run past enemies. Okay. Like you cannot go through the entire game without killing anyone, obviously, but
it's not that kind of game.
It shows up surprisingly like a good bit. Often. Like it's just there as a tactical option.
Is there any new sort of mobility options? Because I know the first Titanfall gave you a lot of mobility in terms of like running on walls, jetpacking, and stuff, things like that.
I mean, those are mostly in multiplayer. Like the grappling hook isn't here, and that's in single player, and that's like the biggest thing that people have sort of latched onto.
Okay,
but typically, like the wall running, the velocity, it's still pretty much the same as original Titanfall.
Do they give you arenas to sort of show that stuff off with? Are there like parts where it's like, oh, you're fighting people and you can't hit the ground or something, you have to keep wall running or something like that? Do they
yeah. Those show up later. Yeah, you basically have to master wall running to complete the campaign, and that might sound intimidating, especially to players who weren't that great at it in the original Titanfall. But it's not that hard. They've made calibrations to it.
How is it structured? Is it sort of like a Half-Life thing where you're moving from one area to another sort of seamlessly, or is it explicit like missions where this part ends and then you're giving like a brief or something?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Like you are just moving to various places, but there are loading screens. There isn't like a seamlessness quality to it. Again, it's like Modern Warfare in a sense that you complete something, there's a loading screen, and then you go to the next area. But it's all still the same mission. It's all one interconnected narrative. It's not just, special ops operation. Let's go do another one.
Right. So they've been talking a lot about, some of the story about how you are sort of this pilot that winds up with their new robot buddy, sort of, serendipitously, right? They find an experienced pilot dies and he basically hands it over to you?
Yep. You're a captain who sees talent in you. You were not a pilot at the beginning of the game. You were a rifleman. So you are one of those fools. If you played the original Titanfall, you are basically fodder by at the beginning of the game. You were one of the fodder that you shot during Titanfall.
Okay.
But then your captain sees something in you, and then he takes you under his wing, and then he dies, and then you take his robot.
Okay.
And you're now on this planet trying to do a secret mission and bonding with your new robo-bud.
Right. So in an earlier preview, you mentioned something about this feeling like a buddy cop or drama or comedy.
Yeah, it basically feels like Lethal Weapon in space at times. Like the jokes hit and they're really good, and there's a good bit of action and drama. BT and the Cooper are kind of in an awkward situation. Like they're trying to learn, about each other. They're sort of bonding. It's great.
Right. Was there a bit of a forward motion there when you meleeed them? It's like, is there a thrust?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Oh, well, because I see you meleeing them, and I don't know if it like sort of locks on, if it. Like,
Oh, if it like surges towards them automatically? No.
Yeah.
That's me. That's all me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is giving me a big Call of Duty feel, but this feels somewhat different. I mean, I guess it's less sort of holding up in different areas and then shooting people and then moving on to the next area. It feels a little more kinetic of like you are just booking it through these environments like super quickly.
And part of that is I've played this game 3 times now, so it's when you initially play it, there's going to be a lot of exploration. There's going to be some puzzle solving. Like you have to look around your environment and figure out how am I going to get from A to B to C. But yeah, I've already done this, and for the sake of expediency, we're just sort of rushing through here because I want to show off the boss battle that happens at the end of the game. I mean, at the end of the level. Yeah.
So is there? I guess how open is it? Does it feel closer to like here a very hyper scripted Call of Duty campaign, or I mean, I'm guessing it's not Doom or anything where it's super wide open areas where you have to go and get keys and stuff. But are there areas where you have to explore to find your next objective, or is it always super obvious where you have to go?
It's pretty super obvious where you have to go. The openness occurs with like how you choose to tackle like these sort of enemy encampments and stuff. Like it's very Far Cry 4, Metal Gear Solid, The Phantom Pain. A lot of the time, like earlier I showed you could just run past enemies and not deal with any of them. You can sneak past them.
Right.
You can program drones, so certain versions of those robots to fight for you. That shows up over and over again. So technically, like, I could get past an entire area without firing a bullet, but have these drones fight for me if I wanted to.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you're sneaky enough. It does take a good bit of skill. Like, this is obviously not a stealth game, and that shows sometimes when you're trying to stealth it. But that the option is there is cool.
Okay. How much of this is story? Like, you do they have like interludes where it's just like here's a cutscene, or is it mostly like you just wander around and something happens in the engine, or is there?
It's like Half-Life, and that most of the time it's happening around you and you're experiencing it and you have full body control. But sometimes there is occasionally a cutscene. But most of the time you still have things are just happening and you're there, right there in the action.
All right.
Yeah.
And what difficulty is this?
Just regular.
Okay. And have you played on any other difficulties?
Yeah. I played on whatever the hard version is. There might be a different name of it, but it gets amped up a little bit. But they mostly become bullet sponges and they go for headshots. You know, it's nothing extraordinary.
Okay. How many different sort of guns and stuff?
There are tons of guns, and the impressive thing is, and I didn't get to touch on this in my review because we have to be concise in our reviews. We have to pick and choose.
Right.
Is how many of them have their own like sort of unique identity. Like here, yeah, this little submachine gun is pretty cool because it has 2 cannons. You find laser weapons. You find one of my favorites is it's like a flare shotgun. And we won't get to see it in this level, but it's just so cool. It's called the Mastiff. That's right.
Okay. So for anyone playing at home, if anyone's playing the game in the future while watching this test chamber, A, you have some weird priorities, and B, it's called the Mastiff.
Yeah. And the grenades in the game are super cool. Like that one I just threw is basically a flaming ninja star that causes damage over time.
Okay. So there's a lot of, playing around with, not necessarily, Ratchet and Clank levels of like, here's a really weird weapon, but they experiment a little more than they have in the past, you feel?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And they're all pretty cool and, fun little techno gizmos. Like we're going to fight ticks in a minute, and ticks are basically rolling, walking mines.
Oh.
Yeah. They are interesting foes, and in multiplayer you actually get to use them.
Okay, so how much knowledge should you go into this game? Like, do you need to have known anything about the world of Titanfall before?
Absolutely not.
No?
Like, it is so black and white and silly. It's basically like Star Wars.
Okay.
The bad guys are absolutely objectively bad.
Okay.
Like there is no humanity to them. They are the evil empire. The rebels are good. The militia. And it's just 2 armies facing off against each other trying to take control of space. Like, that is the whole setup.
Okay.
It is familiar sci-fi tropes. You do not need to have played Titanfall, the original one, or if you did, don't worry. You don't have to have paid attention to all that ridiculous lore.
Right, because one of the things that I guess I'm wondering if how much they introduced you to that world, because in Titanfall 1 there was, I mean, you had that one cutscene where they're like, hey, you're on this ship and now you're going to go into the battle zone, and they didn't really do a good job of grounding you in this world. So one of the things I'm wondering is, do they have a thing where it's like, here's the way the world works? Like, do they have an overarching, like, it's like the year 21 whatever, and
not really.
Everyone exists on colonies, things like
that.
But
I think they're mostly relying on people to be like, okay, these are classic sci-fi tropes from like Aliens and Star Wars. They'll get it. And that works, actually. Call it lazy or whatever, but it works.
All right.
God, I love that ninja star. It's just so
cool.
cool.
I like that they also give you a trajectory that's like really smooth, where as soon as it pops up, it's sort of like Gears of War, where you see the arc of it. But it's like if you can just completely ignore it if you're already familiar with it. That's pretty cool. I like the way that pops up.
All right.
All right. So what is your current objective right now? Because we've kind of skimmed over a lot of this.
We're trying to meet up with BT again, and there's a toxic sludge thing over there, so he can't shoot. Like, you'll always be able to see where your Titan is. Hold on. There we go. See, he's right over there, but he can't shoot or lend me help because of that toxic wall. Oh, ticks. Crap.
Oh, no.
Crap.
Oh, there they are again.
Ah, crap.
Oh, surrounding
Jesus.
you. They kind of look like Metroids a little bit.
Yeah, but see, that's one of the cool things about this game is it just gives you so much mobility. Like, that should have been a death trap. That I got out of that is amazing.
Just looking you like zoom around these levels is like really impressive.
Yeah, but and it feels impressive. Like, it is really, really fun. But anyway, right now we basically have to survive until that toxic wall falls away, and I can go over there and join BT, or he can lend fire support over here. Which is actually one of the more challenging areas in the game because of those ticks. Because the ticks, interestingly enough, it's actually a good representation of what this game does with turning expectations on their head. Like, when you see like a walking bomb, like one of those kinds of enemies, your first instinct is, to shoot it. But when they get close, they do this thing where they won't. It takes them like 5 seconds to explode, unless you shoot them while they're right in front of you, and then they explode and kill you. So it's like you have to train yourself,
right,
to learn their patterns. And if they get close to you, don't freak out. You can just back away.
Right.
But yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So there's I guess with recent Call of Duty sort of moving more in the direction of this, of like, oh, well, let's have jetpacks, let's have wall running, let's give them all this mobility. What do you think is like the main difference between something like Titanfall and the more recent Call of Duty games?
A complete and total lack of self-seriousness.
In tone, basically.
Like, this is just pure pulp. This is just pure arcadey pulp. The last couple of Call of Duties, they always seem to go for sort of drama, like grim somberness. Even Infinite Warfare, it looks is going for that tone, which is fine. Like, there's nothing dissing that, but it seems like the majority of first-person shooters go for that. And Titanfall is explicitly not doing that. Okay. Yeah.
And in terms of like gameplay, what do you think is like the big sort of marquee difference between?
It just feels a lot better.
It feels a lot more brisk.
Like even in Advanced Warfare and Black Ops, the parkour and the wall running that's there just feels like a cheap imitation of this. Like, this is the real deal. It's so much fun.
And I mean, obviously, we don't have. We're not going to really delve into multiplayer too much in here, but what are the main sort of standout differences in the multiplayer?
The battery thing that we talked about earlier is a big difference. Titanfall actual classes for Titans add a new level of strategy to battle. So, if you want to be a Titan who swings a sword, go for it. There's a lot of risk and reward because the Ronin, that's the class, does a lot of damage, but they're super new.
Oh, wow, you kind of hung there.
Yeah, but hopefully we hit a checkpoint. But they're super weak too. Nope. Did we hit a checkpoint?
I remember.
I think so. Yeah. Oh, we're good. Yeah. All right.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. There are others, like the Scorcher is mostly a trap Titan. Like, you'll fire off a cannon with a firebomb that leaks sort of not lava, but something like lava. And if any Titan steps onto it, they get damaged.
Okay. And how is it structured? Because I remember a lot of the criticism of Titanfall 1, even in multiplayer, was sort of that there didn't seem to be enough there to motivate you to keep playing in terms of progression.
It's still got that same progression problem, basically. Like once it's you level up slower, but once you hit the cap, you have the chance to regenerate. Yeah, and the problem with that is the only real difference is so you lose all your stuff,
right.
all your loadouts, the whole shebang.
So you'd be doing that for the sake of honor,
for an emblem, and to unlock a new whole camo set, and that's only going to appeal to a very small number of like players. So there's nothing there to really keep like players coming back eventually, except for maybe DLC and stuff.
No microtransactions, no loot boxes, things like that?
I didn't really see any during my time, but they could be there.
Yeah.
We've had situations before where review copies of games don't have those built in, and then a patch changes that. So, I'm not going to definitively say they're not in there, but I did not see them.
Okay, that's cool. So now you've joined back up with BT.
Yep, our good old RoboBud, BT. All right, we're almost at the end of the level now.
All right. I've been looking forward to this boss.
Oh, he's great.
All right. It's not just like, some regular enemy, except with like more health, is he? It's not.
No. My favorite thing though is like, of all the things I expected, I did not expect Titanfall to imitate Star Fox, and you're about to see what I mean.
Okay.
You were not invited to Kane's party, and that's why you're dead. Well, another runaway hero with an SRS Vanguard class Titan. Woo! Now we're talking.
This is some scene chewer here.
Like, this is just a straight up Star Fox boss fight. It's great.
So you're locking onto him. Pretty cool. So that's not the main guy, right?
No. Kane only has one minion during this fight, since this is a tutorial boss fight, really.
He's the first boss in the game?
Yeah, he's the first boss. Other characters, though, they'll just keep on bringing minions. But that's good for you because they drop batteries a lot.
Oh, okay, so it's like a resupply.
So it's a give and take.
Right. Oh, so they're just commuting. They're like.
Yep, straight up Star Fox.
Yeah, they're trash talking you while they're.
I can't let you do that, Cooper.
Yeah. Yeah, they have like the same, like a very similar like animation pop in. Like, hey, I'm gonna tell you to like, buzz off or whatever, and then I'm gonna go back to trying to kick your ass.
Yeah, I'm gonna eviscerate you. Yeah, it's.
Oh, what is that? What is dealing all? Oh, you're.
Yeah,
you're
that's his trap.
Okay. So is that shield you deploy? Is that like this class's major skill?
Yeah, and the salvo.
Okay. So you're running around trying to get batteries. That's the only one you're gonna get for this fight.
What do you mean?
The battery that you just got. Like he's not gonna keep dropping more.
No, he does not drop them.
Okay.
All right, he should be about dead.
So now you have your salvo core online. Is that like your super?
Yep.
Wow, that was a lot of missiles. All right, and you can. Okay, so you can shoot through the shield.
Yeah, you can shoot through one side of the shield.
That's pretty okay.
Yeah.
What is the sonar lock?
Sonar will send out waves, and it'll lock on to anyone. And that's in multiplayer too as a pilot. But that just makes the lock on happen. Like you can either like keep your cursor on them or do that.
Okay. Do you feel like the single player is like a good indicator of what the multiplayer action is going to be like in terms
Absolutely.
of... Okay.
Yeah. In terms of like one-on-one combat with Titans. Yeah. Pilots, not so much because there's not really like any pilot-on-pilot fighting, which is understandable.
Right. But in terms of like how long a Titan battle would take, this is...
Yeah. This is a pretty good indicator.
Okay. And how many boss battles are there like this in the game?
I think there's like 7
Okay. And you mentioned it's about 7 or 8 hours long, right?
Yeah, it'll probably take you 8 hours on your first go.
Okay.
Just because you have of the puzzles. Once you know everything, it's probably more of a 6 to 7 hour game.
Okay. Are there any is there any reason to look around for?
I mean, there are collectibles, and I haven't collected them all, so there might be like something there hidden once you get them all. You know, sort of like the intel cheats that Modern Warfare did.
Right. Oh, he's almost dead. Oh, is this? Can you board him? Or is it
No, he
gonna
just.
die?
It's because there's a narrative purpose for that particular animation, and we're about to find out.
Kane's helmet radio is still intact.
A Vanguard Titan and its pilot are breaking through the facility. Over.
Fine.
Kane, we need reinforcements in the tunnel. Kane, how copy? Over.
So now you have his helmet or
It's radio, yeah.
okay.
This is Blisk. The IMC have almost sealed the Ark. It's time to prepare the Draconis.
Copy. Got myself 3 captured militia. What should I do with them?
Just kill him.
I'm on my way. Slow now.
The
All right.
ability to decrypt enemy communications has a strong history in warfare. This will work to our advantage. In order to survive, we must keep moving.
And that is our look at Titanfall 2.
All right.
How you feeling about it?
I'm excited to play more of this. Just a lot of the mobility stuff. I'm really interested in getting into it. Yeah, I'm super excited for this.
All right, cool. And we should be having a live stream up of more of the campaign later today, so you can check that out. You can also check out my review. Check out why I dug this game so much in written words.
Yeah.
Yeah, a dying medium.
Exactly.
But thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Test Chamber.
See ya.
All right, bye.